You will not believe this eye-opening method to make sure you hit longer, straighter, much better golf shots much more often. Hi everyone, my name's James Robinson and welcome back to Get Good at Golf. On this channel we try and help you get good at golf just one day at a time. Now this is something that I see so often when I walk up and down the driving range here, or when we're out on the golf course, when we're playing pro-ams, and especially when we're giving lessons. It's such a simple way to make sure you can strike your golf clubs better. We're going to look at irons today and driver because this does differ a little bit, but we're talking stance and generally stance width. I'm going to talk through what happens when your stance is too wide. This is something which people massively misinterpret when people say, I want you to stand shoulder width apart. If you try and stand shoulder width apart here and you're quite broad, you might think, oh, I need to stand shoulder width apart. Chris has told me to stand shoulder width, so here I am. And then you try to hit a golf ball, and it's very difficult to rotate, it's very difficult to move anything through, and it's very difficult to get a proper load in the top of the backswing. That 6-iron's gone 139 yards. That is pathetic, but I've been told to stand shoulder width. So what can I do? Do I have to stand narrower? Do I have to stand here and then I'm going to lose my balance, as Chris is going to explain later? Or do you have to think, right, the stance differs for everybody. How tall are you? What kind of technique do you have? Do you keep your balance well? So for me, shoulder width is probably more like hip width. So my feet aren't working out here, they're just working down in a nice solid manner. From here, what this allows me to do, especially with a mid-iron, is pick a good ball position which I know is going to be consistent, and then ideally I can load up better. We've just done a video today, guys, on how to start the downswing. We spoke a lot about sequencing, both in the backswing and the downswing. If you don't do this correctly, then you can't sequence at all. It makes it so difficult to hit long golf shots, to hit straight golf shots. To be honest, it just makes golf a lot more difficult than it needs to be. We all know it's hard enough anyway, don't we? So I'm going to stand a little bit narrower, more hip width than shoulder width, and from here, that's going to allow me with this 6-iron, like I said, pick a ball position, which for me is just forward of centre with a 6-iron, because I'm going to hit down on it. I can then load up into the top of the backswing and push off that and rotate through into the downswing. You'll see I've got more distance there. That's gone 176 yards in the air, so straight away I've picked up 30 or 40 yards, which is quite ridiculous. If we look at the replay of that golf swing and we have that nice and slow, you can see how I'm moving onto that right side, then pushing off onto the left side, and I'm actually creating a lot more power and a lot more speed. That's exactly what we want to try and do here. With an iron, yeah, we don't want to try and hit it really hard, but we want to do something that's repeatable. So if I want to try and hit this the same distance now, I'm going to try and make that same golf swing. And ideally there, I'm going to hit that pretty much the same distance. I've caught that a little bit toey, but as you can see, it's finishing right up near that other shot, 171 yards. So consistency-wise, I'm doing okay there. Now, that's all good and well with the iron. I know what you're saying, but what if we wanted to talk big dog? We want to talk driver. So driver, I'm obviously going to want to stand as wide as possible because it's a longer lever system. We know that. I'm trying to create loads of power. Again, we're going to have a similar problem there. I can't load up, I can't transition very well into the downswing, so I'm going to hit my driver, again 130 yards. We're enjoying that distance today on the channel, aren't we? So if I want to hit one a little bit longer, what am I going to do? I'm not going to stand really narrow. Again, Chris is going to talk us through that, but once the ball is on the tee, I'm going to make sure that, again, I'm wide enough not to lose my balance. The key here is I'm not going to lose my balance and I'm going to load up properly. So I'm going to go a little bit wider than I was with the 6-iron. From here, I can take the club away nice and wide. I can create a nice long lever system. I can load up to the top of the backswing, and from there we can talk sequencing on the way down to smash this driver as far as physically possible down the golf zone range. Guys, Chris is now going to talk through what happens if that stance width does get a little bit too narrow, and we're going to talk irons, wedges and driver in future videos. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button if you want to get good at golf.
So James has talked through there what we see when people get their stance too wide. So we start to see that, like James mentioned, we're not getting the strike, and one thing James just missed off there was low point. So we see people get their stance a little bit too wide, and from here they might move off that, and if we move off it, we're constantly trying to find that golf ball. We make the low point very wide. It could be 2 feet, a foot short of the ball, a foot wide if we've moved off it. When we go the opposite, so when we now talk about a narrow stance, we start to think, right, yes, I've got a controlled low point, but I can't swing as hard from here. So a lot of people think, right, well, if I want to put all the speed in, where does the speed come from? And that speed comes from hands and arms. We don't get the speed, we don't get the sequence, we don't get the distance. 142 yards there. I've lost probably 40 yards in carry, but I've put a lot of effort in there. How many times we walk down the driving range and we see, that guy's put a lot of effort in, and it doesn't go very far, is because of how his stance is set up. He can't generate any kind of speed, he can't generate any kind of contact. So from there, it's a lot of effort, it's tiring, doesn't probably hit all the 100 balls because they're fatigued. So once we've got narrow as well, we've not got much control on that club face, and because obviously we are very handsy and armsy, from there we're going to start to see that the club face can close. We can quickly hit one. Oh, I've hit that one left.
That's spectators, that one.
That's into the stand. That's gone a quick left. I've got no distance. Right, what I need to do is I need to hold it off a little bit more. So I need to get into that stance. Right, yeah, it's just a bit handsy, that one. So what I'll do is I'll hold the club off. All right, we've put it into the
other stand.
Other stadium now. So should I get a lesson or... No, I think I've figured it out now. I've mastered it. I know what's wrong. So from here, we're not getting any kind of power, any kind of consistency, and you're probably killing your distance. If we can get this stance correct, we know we're going to get you more club face control, and we're also going to get you more distance, which is what everybody wants. So like James mentioned, to find your stance width is different for everybody. So what we need is a very expensive alignment stick again, which is behind James, which if you've watched the video earlier in the week, you'll see he did get this earlier in the week.
We did get it again, there we go.
The Auto Flex alignment stick.
I'll stop putting that back actually.
So what we want is to be able to get that into the middle of your stance. We'll have the ball just ahead of centre if you're using a 6-iron. From here you can get into your normal setup. Not do that.
Expensive.
Not do that, especially don't stand on an auto fly. So come in, take your normal stance, and once you're comfortable, have a look. All right, is the ball position right? No, that's not the centre of my stance. And how wide is my stance? Is that stance width the same as my shoulders? No, that looks a little bit narrow. So what I can start to do is make sure that's in the middle of my stance. Make sure that, again, it's more hip width. And from here, I can then feel like, right, I can repeat that, hit a shot. You can see very much, I can get that ball launching better. You'll see the distance is straight away up. I've gained 30 yards straight away there in carry, just by being able to transfer my weight better and get into better positions in my golf swing. But if you have this stick down every single time, we want to get into that routine. So once we've got it correct and we've hit a good shot, we want to come in again, think about it, set up. Right, let's have a look. Yes, that's now in the middle of my stance. I've been able to repeat that because if we do this on the driving range, it's going to be much easier when we go out onto the golf course to get into that solid position, make a good swing, and help you get good at golf. So guys, give this a go. Make sure you get your setup right.
Look at that one!
191, oh, even better. So make sure you get this drill down. Make sure you practice on the driving range. Go in and out. Use your routine because that's really going to help you get good at golf out on the golf course.